All right, AEW Dynamite starts off with Kenny Omega. He cuts a short promo. Basically, the main purpose of this promo is basically him mentioning the tournament, the eliminator tournament for his international title. Whoever wins the tournament ends up being the number one contender to face him at Dynasty. Now, I do not care about this tournament at all because, no offense, this is a very predictable tournament. The tournament is filled with nobodies for the most part. The only person that it makes logical sense to win this tournament is Ricochet or Orange Cassidy, but there's really no reason for Orange Cassidy to win this tournament, so it's really just going to be Ricochet. Everyone else is a non-factor. It makes zero sense for anyone else to win. Plus, Ricochet has like the easiest path to win this tournament anyway. So I was a little I wasn't gonna say disappointed because I wasn't expecting much from this promo, but is there really a reason why we need a tournament? Because if Ricochet wins, which I'm assuming he will, couldn't you have just done a Ricochet and Kenny Omega feud? I'm not saying the feud would have been amazing, but I would have just preferred that instead of wasting television time on a tournament that means nothing and that is going to be basically filler for the most part because we're not going to see half of the participants on Dynamite after this anyway. So I just feel like this was just filler and that we could have just done a Ricochet and Kenny Omega feud and just moved on, but this is what they wanted to do. I don't know why, but this is what they wanted to do. Um, After this, we end up getting a John Moxley promo. Basically, he mentions, Revolution, mentions, and the main point of his promo was just he underestimated Adam Copeland and he's done underestimating him. Then he ends up mentioning, them having the street fight next week.
You want whatever you
Okay.
think looks cool on a poster,
So, of
Copeland.
course, Mox retains that Revolution beat
You
him on
take
his
the
first
rules,
match.
I'll take you.
And we're still going with the storyline. Now, later in the show, a bunch of people ended up, well, not a bunch of people, but a few people still saying they're going to go out to the AEW World Championship. It looks like, I'm just going to be honest, it looks like that this story is going to go into All In, which I don't know if I could take a couple more months of this story. Because Adam Copeland is not winning next week. He's not. I'm sorry. He's not winning next week. But it looks like this is going into All In. It looks like the guy that's going to dethrone John Moxley is Will Ospreay, because later in the show, Will Ospreay had a promo mentioning All In, mentioning going after the world title. So it looks like that's the direction they're going in. I do not want to wait until July. I really don't. I don't. Because that's like 4 more months. Like, oh my God. I don't know if I could take 4 more months of this story. We'll see how this plays out. But 4 more months of this Death Rider story is just, oh my gosh. I don't know if I could do it. After this, we end up getting Toni Storm. She ends up cutting a promo. The promo was good. I was about to be very disappointed if this was just it, because I was like, the promo was good and all, but it didn't lead to nowhere. But then you end up getting Megan Bayne. She ends up attacking Toni Storm, and that's the end of the segment. Okay, I am so confused by this, and I don't like this direction. Number one, because right now, Megan Bayne right now is still building. She's still really new to the company and she's still building herself up. I know she's undefeated, but I don't know how many matches she has had, but I highly doubt it's more than like 15 or 20, but I could be wrong. The other thing is she's not that built up to face someone like a Tony. She's not even she's not that built up to face Toni Storm right now. I get that she's undefeated, but she's not built up that strong to face Toni Storm. She's built strong, yes, but she's not built strong enough to face Toni Storm of all people. Number two, she's still not that over with the crowd. Like, she still needs to get over with the crowd, which I think is something that they need to do before they do this story. Number two, she still haven't spoken a word, which is ridiculous. Like, look, her not speaking would be fine if one, she was an incredible in-ring talent, or two, she had a talker. She's not bad in the ring by any means, but she's not like this all-time great or anything. She's not like this would work if she was like an EO Sky level in-ring worker, but she's not. And number two, she doesn't have a talker. So off rip, like, it's already throwing me off. I just don't understand why we're rushing this. I don't get it. And also, she's still feuding with other people as well. Because on tonight's show, she attacked Chris Statlander and Willow, and she still is feuding with Thunder Rosa. So that's 4 people she's going to be feuding at this. Well, 3 technically outside of Toni Storm that she's going to be feuding with outside of Toni Storm. I just don't understand this logic. I don't get it. And then she's not winning this. The only way this works is if you have her win, which I highly doubt. So if she's not going to win, why have her lose this match? Because I don't understand it. The only thing I could think of is that they have no one for Toni Storm to face, because they really don't. The only people you're going to have her face is possibly other baby faces if you include Willow and Chris. Because outside of that, Tony Storm has beaten everyone. So Megan Bayne is one of the few people that makes sense to face her. But why would you put Megan Bayne in this position this early on in her career when she's just starting? She hasn't been on the roster for that long. So I don't understand why are we pushing her against Tony Storm of all people. We'll see how this plays out. Maybe they don't even have a match. Maybe they do what WWE did with Solo when he attacked Cody Rhodes and they didn't do nothing with that. So maybe they do something similar here. We'll see how this plays out. But if they end up having a match, I do not like it. After this, we end up getting Beast Mortos versus Mike Bailey. This is one of the eliminator matches. Not going to speak about this match because honestly, who cares? I don't even know who won this match, if I'm not mistaken. I think Mike Bailey won. Yeah, I think it was Mike Bailey that won, but I could be wrong. I did not watch this match because who cares? We all know it's going to be Ricochet and Orange Cassidy as the final two, and Ricochet is going to win. So I just don't care. After this, we end up getting Christian Cage. He was having an interview segment with Renee, but he told her to, basically run off. Then he ends up mentioning Revolution. He ends up making a bunch of excuses for why he didn't win. He ends up saying the referee was incompetent. He ends up mentioning that the referee ended up making it a triple threat when it should have been a one-on-one match. But Nick Wayne ends up interrupting him, ends up saying that all he's doing is making excuses and that he lied to the family and that he should have just stuck to the plan, because if he stuck to the plan, he would be world champion right now. And he ends up saying that Christian owes them an explanation and he owes them an apology. Christian ends up pushing Nick Wayne, and he ends up telling him that he needs to stay in his place and that he doesn't need to explain anything. And he ends up mentioning, his biological father. Ends up saying that his biological father was a loser and that if he wasn't around, Nick Wayne wasn't around Christian, that he'll be a loser just like him. And then he ends up mentioning that how many world titles have Nick Wayne won, how many world titles have your dad won, and that, he's the experienced guy and that he shouldn't be questioning him. This was great. And he ends up saying that that if he ends up questioning him again, this will be the last time they would have this discussion. This was a great segment because I've been wondering when they was gonna do the whole Nick Wayne turning on Christian. So it looks like they're building up that story. Also, I am very curious, where is Kill Switch or Luchasaurus? He might be out with an injury, or I don't know, but where is he at? Because I feel like he should be a part of this story as well. I don't know if they kicked him out of the group or anything. I have not been paying attention to the patriarchy like that because the patriarchy had just been very boring for a while now, in my opinion. So, but I like what they're doing here. I see the potential. I see the vision. I like where this can go because it has been a long time since Nick Wayne has been with the group. Well, I don't want to say long time. It's probably only been like a year, maybe like a year and a half, if I'm not mistaken. He's been with Christian. But maybe going on 2 years. But I like the vision. I like the idea. Now, this is definitely, hopefully they build upon this. Do not have this be a quick, easy thing. Have this build, because this is probably going to be the most interesting thing they do since he lost his contract. This is going to be the most interesting thing they do with the patriarchy for a while. So hopefully they build this up for like a couple months. Don't stretch it out too long, but maybe for like a good 2 to 3 months they can build this up, and then hopefully the execution will be great. But I like the idea of eventually breaking up Nick Wayne and Mama Wayne, eventually them turning on Christian. I do like the idea of that. After this, we end up getting MJF. He cuts a promo.
I got a few things I want to tell you.
He ends up getting interrupted by MVP. MVP comes out. He ends up mentioning, their history, their friendship, and all that. Then he ends up mentioning that MJF has lost his edge. He's not the same MJF he used to be, and that people don't fear him anymore. And he ends up saying that he needs to he tries to recruit MJF and that he needs to join the Hurt Syndicate to fix all that. MJF ends up refusing at first. He ends up mentioning, him being world champion and talked about how he once held the championship for 406 days. MVP responds, ends up saying that you were champion and you did held it 406 days. And then MJF takes the card. Now, I don't know where this is really going here because I don't think he's going to join the Hurt Syndicate. I actually think it makes no sense for him to join, honestly. And it's weird because it's something that if he was to join, it could work. I just don't think MJF needs it. That's why I just don't think it made much sense. Now, the thing is, if he refuses to join, is MVP going to attack him like he did everyone else who refused his offer? Because I don't see, because the only way I see this working is if you do a Bobby Lashley MJF feud, but I don't think that's the right time to do this because he's feuding with Hangman, And then also, Bobby Lashley is a tag team champion. So I don't know. I just feel like the timing of this is just weird and don't make much sense. If this was like a feud that they did initially, like when Bobby Lashley first got into AEW, I will be more on board with this storyline. But right now, I just feel like the timing just doesn't work. But I could be wrong. They could be going into a completely different direction. Who knows? Maybe the Hurt Syndicate help MJF beat Hangman, and who knows? But we'll see how this plays out. But I'm very iffy on this. After this, we're getting Willow versus Penelope. Willow picks up the victory. Then after the match, Penelope ends up attacking Willow. Then you end up getting Chris Statlander coming up, make the save. She tries to, lift up Willow, but Willow ends up pushing her. They're both distracted. This allowed Megan Bang to attack them both. This is why I'm still confused about this, because I don't understand it. Because if Megan Bang is going to attack Willow and Chris, I'm assuming that they're going to have a match or still be feuding. But she also attacked Toni Storm, which also led to them possibly feuding as well, which is a lot of confusion. Also, I know the story that they're telling with Chris Statlander. She's trying to become friends with Willow again, which is going to probably lead to them tagging together between Megan Bang and Penelope probably next week. Like I said, this has potential, but this is very boring, mainly due to Penelope and Megan Bang not talking. They need to talk. I'm sorry. Them just being these silent people who don't talk, who are just attacked, it just doesn't work. It's not working. It is no, they need to talk. I'm sorry. Get them a talker, or one of them needs to talk. I'm sorry. One of them needs to talk to make this story work, because this story is so boring. I have little to no interest. After this, we end up getting Will Ospreay. Not gonna really speak about the promo, because this promo dragged. I ain't gonna lie. This promo dragged, but basically he wants to be world champion, and that he wants to do it at All In. Now the reason why he mentioned All In was mainly because Adam Copeland has his match next week, and Swerve has his opportunity at Dynasty, which I highly doubt. Now, the thing that was confusing me is that I know that they're going to have another pay-per-view after Dynasty, which I'm assuming is Double or Nothing, but I could be wrong. It may not even be Double or Nothing. But they have to have another pay-per-view, right? There's no way that All In is the next pay-per-view. I could be wrong, but I just assumed that there was another pay-per-view in between May and July. But I thought maybe May or June they have another paper. Maybe they don't. Maybe they do have a 2 month break in between there. But he's basically saying that he's going to enter the Owen Hart tournament and that he's going to try to win it, which I do like. I do think it is eventually time for Will Ospreay to win the AEW championship. I think he's been there long enough. I think he's done enough. He has some great stories. I do think it's time for Will Ospreay to win it. And if he's the one to dethrone Jon Moxley, I'm actually not. I like it. I'm not mad at it. He's one of the better people to win it anyway. He's one of the best options you have. Now, the fact that we gotta wait until All In to do this is just it's ridiculous. The fact that we gotta wait until All In for this to happen is kind of ridiculous. But it is what it is. We'll see how this plays out. Then we end up getting Hangman MJF. They end up having a backstage segment. Hangman ends up saying that he didn't believe that MJF would really light him up on fire, and that he believes that MJF really does care about what the fans actually thinks of him. MJF responds back, ends up saying that he's going to be the next, before that actually, he ends up saying that what's going to happen next in their careers. He ends up saying that he's going to go on and become AEW World Champion. He's going to become one of the greatest of all time, and Hangman is going to do what he typically does, which is climb his way to the top, but eventually ends up falling back down. And he ends up saying that he doesn't think one of the insecurities that Hangman has is that he doesn't believe that he deserves the fans' love, which is correct, because eventually the fans will get tired of him not winning the big one. This was great. This was a great segment. I enjoy what they did here. This was actually, I would argue, this is probably their best segment that they have had in terms of talking back and forth to each other. This was great. I'm not even going to mention the main event, because the main event was basically a eliminator match that meant nothing. It had Orange Cassidy in it. Orange Cassidy won against, I forgot his name. It starts with an H, but I don't even know how to pronounce his name. But overall, this show was very mid. I'm just going to be honest with you. Outside of the MJF Hangman stuff, and then really, I would argue, outside of anything that involved MJF really with the Hangman, that was really it for the most part, unless I'm forgetting something. Oh, and the Christian Cage stuff. Yeah. Outside of that, this show was just very, very mid. But you guys let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. But yeah, that's it.